no heavy injuries. I mean, there were some scenes I was like, whoa. One of the scenes was Tai Hwa had to endure the painful Durian scene. And I was wondering, as I watched that scene, like, was he injured? Was that fake Durian or was that real Durian, first of all?
It was fake Durian, I'm sorry.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank you. So at least his face was still somewhat intact, right? It wasn't bent or anything.
Exactly.
Another scene was around that one particular scene with the motorcycle, the moped. And so the female character used that real knife. That was a real knife, right?
No,
when
actually,
she fought with Kim?
No, it was fake knife.
It looks so real. I was like,
I see.
So what was the trick of making these fight scenes so realistic?
Well, I mean, I think the angles and also like, you know, the cuts are like definitely one of the things that make it real, but on top of like a serious training that they had gone through. But I have to say that one of the greatest things with like working with Vietnamese actors, they are willing to challenge the dangerous stunts as well. I mean, not the completely like insanely dangerous one, but for example, like jumping off of the yacht, you know, they decided, you know, they wanted to do it by themselves, or driving motorcycles. If that was in the Hollywood, like nobody would be able to like drive the like very narrow streets. You know, so you know, I was very thankful that you know, Tai Hwa and Ipleman was so like good at driving.
Wow, wow, wow. Vâng, thưa quý vị, xin quý vị khán giả vẫn tiếp tục giữ màn hình SBTN. Chúng tôi sẽ trở lại trong giây lát. Chúng tôi xin cảm ơn sự theo dõi trở lại của quý vị, và chúng tôi xin được bắt đầu phần 2 với nhà làm phim Ken cho cuốn phim mới nhất của anh mang tên là Saigon Bodyguards. Đây là một cuốn phim hài, có nhiều màn đánh nhau rất là dữ dội, nhưng cũng có nhiều màn rất là hài, thưa quý vị. Và anh là người Nhật, thực hiện quay một cuốn phim ở tại Việt Nam. Và cái kinh nghiệm mà làm việc với các diễn viên, anh có chia sẻ rằng là anh rất là thích quay những cái phim như vậy, và đặc biệt làm việc với một người bạn của anh là anh Kim Nguyễn, cũng như là một diễn viên hài đó là Thái Hòa. Chúng tôi sẽ được tiếp tục chương trình phần 2 sau đây. So go back to the two actors. Some of the supporting actors, I thought they were really good as well. Yes. Can you talk about the casting of supporting actors in this film?
Yes, I mean, we had like one of the best casting directors in Vietnam, and she suggested me a lot of like interesting cast, especially the younger ones. There are like so many talented young and up and coming, you know, actors in Vietnam, and we did like intense audition process where, you know, we have them come in, you know, talk a little bit about themselves and then do the scene, and then we had callbacks. And you know, most of the, you know, those actors wouldn't like do that kind of audition because they're already famous in Vietnam. But you know, they're willing to like, you know, involve in this project. So like they were I guess like generous to like let us do like a lot of callbacks. And I was like especially blown away with Bertrand, because like every time he comes back to the audition, like the callbacks, like he did like slightly different way of the performance, and also like adding like layers to his characters. And he had like a lot of ideas for playing Phuc and Henry at the same time, because like that role was especially like difficult, because you only not only you have to play like Phuc and Henry, but also you have to play Henry, Phuc playing Henry. So it's actually like 3 roles that he has to play, and having that difference between like Henry and Phuc are very like, you know, because they look exactly the same. So it was very interesting.
Just one more polished and the other one more like the common, you know, guy who sells down the street, right?
Yes.
So I would say the physicality part, he already had in mind what he wanted to do with these 2 characters.
Yeah, for sure. And like the way like he differentiated the way they walk. So like Henry walks like really like straight and like the stern, and almost like, you know, Korean pop star type of like you know, like coming out of the airport, and then like he had this like a little, you know, slouched and like very like flamboyant, you know, like
hardworking, right, almost. So now, because you're Japanese, when you audition, when you cast these actors, do you have your right-hand person sit next to you to help you advise, or do you kind of go with your instinct as a director to cast some of the actors in this film?
Definitely instinct first, but I did have an interpreter, and also I did have, Michael Tai, who's also a, screenwriter, and he's a Vietnamese American.
Oh.
So like he was also like my right-hand person. Like I always like came back to him and discuss about our characters that we created together.
Oh wow! So now the film was successfully shown last December in Vietnam. Are you happy with the result?
Yes, I'm extremely happy. Because there was a lot of pressure for, I guess, Vietnamese, film industry that this film is one of the biggest films last year, and the Tai Hoa and Kim Lee and the amazing cast, and like a big budget film, and it has to do well. And like this is like my first time directing in Vietnam, so I had a lot of pressure. But sitting in a theater with full of like Vietnamese audience, and they're like laughing out loud, was like just like an amazing experience. I had a really good time.
I mean, speaking of laughing out loud, I did laugh out loud when I saw this film. I thought Tai Hoa delivered his role perfectly. I thought his lines were really funny. And so I find his performance was very, I would say very upbeat, but yet very subtle. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Upbeat, but yet subtle, dead on a lot of the dialogues and the scenes in the film. And you feel like as if he was just talking to you and not acting this character.
Yes.
Did he share that with you,
Yes.
how he approached this role?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, this film is all about like the relationship, the bonds between Trinh and Uyen. And, Tai Hoa is not only like one of the greatest comedians, but also greatest actors, because my favorite line in the film is when, they fight in the jail, and they kind of like break up. And he says, in tough times, who your friends are, and that line, how he delivers, has like a lot of depth and emotion. Just like looking at very subtle, but just like eyes, just like tell everything, the relationship between them, and then the transition into like the funny montage sequence of like a bromance memory of them. So like everything kind of works out, because like a serious moment to the funny moment, and he was the, I guess, glue between those two.
I'm curious about shooting there. Was it challenging for you? Because some of the scenes requires out in the street, the vendors are selling the foods, and the people walking down the street. Like, was that, are those extras, or they're real people?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm like, wow, how can you shoot those scenes? It's,
Yeah, I mean, like we had a lot of extras who supported the film in a greatest way, because like those, like behind, almost like people who are not in the spotlight are actually the ones who make the film even better than like what it is. So I was very grateful for like the cast and crew members.
I saw an old friend of mine, JV, his Vietnamese name known by Mai Thay Hiệp. How did you get him?
It was like all casting process. I mean, I did a lot of research on Vietnamese films, so like I did, see a lot of Vietnamese films out there in theaters, and thankfully, they have English subtitles in Vietnamese theater, so like I really enjoy watching them, and I saw like some of the cast members in other films, and I was like, oh my God, I would like to see this person, and he was one of them too.
Yeah. So now, are you planning to direct like a Hollywood film soon? Because you're Japanese, you went to school USC, you did Vietnamese, you did Japanese. Now, what's your ultimate goal? What's your ultimate dream that you want to direct? Like,
when I was like maybe 12 or so, my mom asked me like, what's your dream? And I told her that my dream is to direct a Vietnamese film.
At the age of 12?
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. See, I didn't know I had that dream when I was 12.
Yes, but my dream was always to make a movie, but it doesn't really matter where the place is. I would never thought that I would be able to make movies in Vietnam, but I was blessed, and I like want to make movies more in Vietnam, because the cast members and crew are so like like talented, that they have like a lot more potential to be able to, I guess, export their culture and like films, to internationally. And I'm interested in making movies like musicals, especially because
I know.
Yeah.
Seems like you have a thing for musical, right?
Definitely.
Especially after you saw La La Land.
Yes. I mean, like, I always
what's
had.
so special about musical films that you want to do? Like, what is it about musical?
Well, I mean, there is something about music that I'm always like, in love with, because like I'm really bad at music. Like I
Can
can't
you sing?
No, I can't.
Can you dance?
No, I can't.
Can you tap dance?
No,
Oh,
I
come
can't
on,
do
Can.
anything. And because I'm like tone deaf almost, like I always like respect and admire singers and musicians. That's why I have like I guess almost like a dream to be able to like sing and dance, but I can't do it, so I make movies about them. So that's the thing. And in Vietnam, there's so many great singers and musicians that could be able to I guess transcend the country. So I felt like musical is a great opportunity to make, and maybe like in a historic musical or like more of a dance musical, that kind of stuff might be interesting to do.
That would be very interesting if that's your next project, is to do a musical film.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, because here in Hollywood this year we get to see La La Land, and it's all over. Over 10 years ago was it Chicago? But it seems like it's tougher to do a musical than just a regular film, right?
Yes.
Because it requires true talents.
Yes, and also like a lot of practice and rehearsals and planning and budget. So like it is really hard, but I feel like it's worth trying. I've made 2 musical short films in Japan. One is about high school girls, and one is about sumo wrestlers.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, 2 of them are like very Japanese thing, but I wish I could. I would love to make a movie in Vietnam.
Well, good luck to your success, and definitely hope you can come back after you're done with the next great film too.
Yes.
So thank you for coming down to our studio today,
and thank you.
Good luck to everything that you're.
Yes, I hope you enjoy the film. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Dạ vâng, thưa quý vị, cảm ơn quý vị rất là nhiều đã theo dõi chương trình ngày hôm nay, và xin kính chúc tất cả quý vị có một ngày thật là hạnh phúc và bình an. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arigato.
Arigato. Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn. Cảm ơn. Thưa quý vị, đó là buổi phỏng vấn của Tô Uyen với đạo diễn trẻ Ken OCHIAI, và cảm ơn quý vị rất là nhiều đã theo dõi buổi nói chuyện ngày hôm nay. Xin kính chúc tất cả quý vị có một ngày thật là hạnh phúc và bình an.